Hey guys, this is my new Nintendo 64 Portable that I made. I went with the vertical format um, because there's just so many horizontal ones that I wanted to do something a little bit different. And yes, there have been vertical format in 64s portable N64s before, but I just thought it'd be cooler to make one that looks exactly pretty much exactly like a Game Boy Color. Uh, I mean, with how you put the game in everything. I went with the super pad for a controller, and that is the whole controller in there. You recognize it if you've ever used one before. But what I like about it especially is the joystick. It's not anywhere near as crappy as the regular one. It's not breaking anytime soon. Um, and I used JB Weld to epoxy it in, and you can tell, but it's really smooth, and it's really comfortable when you're playing the game. For the screen, I used a Zenith screen. It is unmodded because I have a massive battery that I'll show you in a second, and it gets me about 4 hours of playtime without the LED mod, so I'm happy with the way it is. These are the AV out ports, and I'll show you in just a second on and off switch. Relocated the contrast and volume controls. Right here, I have the first player and second player controller out ports. When it's switched this way, and this is the switch for the first player. When it's switched this way, this is for the internal controller, and when it's switched this way, then this is the first controller that you can plug a controller into and play like that. And then of course this is just the regular second player controller. Alright, I was pretty happy with the way the cartridge slot relocation and mounting went. Even after I finally got the rewiring right for the relocation, I was still pretty nervous that I was not going to do a very good job on mounting it. But these two screws is what's holding it in, and it's pretty nice. It's not going anywhere, and it's really easy to slip in, slip out, and slip back in. One thing different that I decided to do was these two buttons right here. This is R and this is Z. Most people, when they make their Nintendo 64 portables, if they're using the PS1 screen, they're going to have both triggers right here. And they'll make this R, or I'm sorry, this L, this R, and then double Z's right here. What I decided to do was have just one though. Problem is though, I was going to make a switch for it, so it'd switch between Z and L, so you'd have L and Z right here. But the switch broke, and what sucked was when I was putting this thing together, this right here, this top part is just a lid, and then there's a box right here, and I was stacking everything. I mounted the Mobo first, and then I mounted the next thing, and then the screen and whatever. And it wasn't until I finally got it finished that I realized that this switch broke, and everything's stacked on it, so it's going to be a hassle to replace it now. So I just pretty much left it like it was because L is so rarely used in games anyway. It's not a big deal to me right now. But the good thing was I was able to put a little bit of solder right in there, and that made it permanently an R button. So even though the L and Z, or not permanently the R button, permanently the Z button. So even though the ZL doesn't switch, at least the Z does, and I'm happy with it. All right, let's see it turned on. Okay, I forgot to switch the controller switch. That's what sucks is if you turn it on and it's already switched to this right here, then you can't just switch it back. You have to reset it. Not a big deal though. Screen's really nice. And I particularly don't like the LED, the light leakage with the LED mod, so I'm perfectly happy with this. Alright, with the Z and R buttons, I'm having to hold it with these two fingers right here, but it's actually pretty comfortable to hold. I mean, it fits perfectly into my hand. And what's really nice is for Zelda games like Ocarina of Time, when you're trying to like defeat a boss or whatever, and you're needing Z and R, Z for the Z targeting, and R to hold your shield. It's actually really comfortable. So It's really nice to just be able to hold it with those two fingers, and it just works perfectly. I didn't that This little idea right here is not something you usually see in N64 portables, and I was wondering how good it would work out, but I'm actually pretty happy with it. As you can see, there's no delay in gameplay. It's actually pretty nice. Uh, I'm happy with it. Alright, let's see how the AV out ports work. Um, okay, I forgot to tell you about the battery. Here's the battery slot. I did not make, well, this is kind of an internal battery, you might call it, but it's not like an internal battery where you just charge it when it's dead. You can actually take the battery out like that, and it's a 9-volt 5400 mAh battery, so it gets 4 hours of playtime, which is nice. 4 hours of play time, and that's with the unmodded LED screen and with just the jumper pack. But this is a portable DVD player battery. This is for charging. This button right here lights up these LEDs right there, and it shows you how charged it is right now. It's at a full charge. And then this is voltage out. And what I did was I made a slot for it in the actual thing, and you can kind of see it right in there. There's a plug where you can put it right in there, and it fits pretty much. It's perfect, so it's not gonna like fall out on you while you're playing the game. One thing also that I did forget to do was drill a hole for screen on and off. That way I could just use the AV out ports and just have the video on the TV, but not this screen right here. But that's okay though, because there was all this room under here for where the battery goes, so I put this switch for that right in here. Alright, so I just switched it right there. So now when I turn it on, this screen right here is not going to turn on, but the TV screen will. These are the cables that I've been using. Alright, and there it is. Now you can still play it like this with this regular thing, but with this switch right here, it's obviously much easier to have just a regular controller and play with that. But this still works too if you don't have a controller like me. And sorry, the camera is making my screen look really bright, but it's all good. Well, that's pretty much it. I learned about these at the start of this past summer of 2009, and I was on Google Images or something, and I can't remember what I was searching for, but I saw a picture of one of these, and I was like, wow, I didn't really know these things existed. And I started looking for shops online, a shop to find out where to buy one, and then it was like, well, okay. I found out that you can't buy one of these. If you want one, you have to make it yourself. And I want to be in engineering college, so I was like, because I like building stuff, so I was like, why not? I'll give it a shot. And that project turned into 7 months, and it's finally finished, so I'm pretty happy with it. Hope you liked it.